In this step, you're going to use live data to model a game finished event. And by the end of this step, you're going to be able to navigate when the game finishes from the view model. This requires adding a little bit more code beyond basic live data observation to get everything working correctly. To show you why, I'm going to actually comment out this navigation code. And instead of navigating, I'm just going to show a toast here. Seeing a toast makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on as opposed to the whole screen switching. But eventually we'll uncomment this code and get rid of the toast. Next, let's go ahead over to our game view model. Here in the game view model, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and make a new live data to represent a game finished event. And it's going to be of type Boolean. So what I want this live data to do is when it becomes true, it'll display that toast that shows that the game has ended. And when it's false, it just shouldn't do anything. I'm going to go ahead and start off by setting it to false. Now I need to figure out where the game actually finishes, so I'm going to scroll down. It's actually here in next word, when the word list is empty, that I want the game to finish. So I'm going to change the value of event game finished to true. So now I'm properly signifying when the game is finished. I'm going to go over to game fragment, and I'm going to scroll up to the top. And here where my observers are, I'm going to add a new observer, and that is going to observe this new event game finish live data that I have. So I'm calling observe, I'm going to pass in this, and I'm going to make a new observer lambda here. The type of data I get for this observer is a Boolean representing whether the game is finished or not. So I'm going to call this has finished. And then I'm going to check the value of this. So I'm going to say if has finished, then I want to call game finished, which again is this method which just shows a toast. But eventually this will navigate. Okay, let's go ahead and run the app. So if I go ahead and play the game, I see that things are working pretty much the same. And when I get to when the game should finish, it shows that toast. So that seems like everything's working just right. But I've actually introduced a very tricky little bug. And you can see that bug if you just rotate the phone. You see that that toast appears again. Here, let me show you. Every time I rotate the phone, the toast is appearing. But this is not what we want. We want the game finished event to only happen once, so it's a bug that I'm seeing this toast multiple times. Now this is happening because of live data's lifecycle aware behavior. Remember the abilities that live data has because of its lifecycle awareness? Look at the third ability. If you rotate the phone, you are recreating the fragment, which reconnects the observer, and then it gets the current data immediately. This is why when I rotate the phone, that toast keeps getting re-triggered, even though I only want it to show once. So what are we to do? Well, once the toast is shown, which is the event that we wanted to only happen once, we need some way to tell the view model that we're no longer in this sort of game has finished state. Essentially, we need to tell the view model that we've shown the toast or that the navigation has happened. So back in my code in the game view model, I'm going to scroll to the end of the code, and I'm going to create a new function called onGameFinishComplete. And all I'm going to do here is take that event, and I'm going to set its value back to false. And this is representing that essentially the event has been handled. So now, back in my game fragment, right after I've called game finished, I want to go ahead and tell the view model that game finished has completed. This will ensure that the toast is only shown once. In fact, let's go ahead and run our code and check if that's the case. Alright, here's my app. Let's play it. Alright, so I see this toast appear once, and now I'm going to rotate the phone, and there's no more toast. But if the game gets finished again, I do see the toast again. So this seems to be working. And now back in my code, I can scroll down to where the game finished method is, and I can uncomment this navigation and delete this toast. So in this way, I'm using live data, which represents state, to represent the state of an event. Alright, now it's your turn. Go ahead and write the code for event game finish.